All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope we're all having a great day so far. We are going to hop right into it. Okay, so we are going to start off with a warm-up for our boot camp here, getting moving a little bit through the hips with just some very basic movement through the trunk and the shoulders. Before we get into our workout, which will consist of glute bridges, air squats, lateral marches, kneel to squats, mountain climbers, push-ups, snow angels, and leg raises. So that's going to be our circuit for today, helping you guys through all those exercises. We're going to go twice through. Then we're going to finish off with our cool down, which is going to be, again, some hip work, as we're getting a lot of that focused on today through those glute bridges, air squats, and those kneel to squats, getting some good strengthening and mobility there through the hips, as well as finishing out with some shoulder and chest opening stretches as well. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started with our warm-up, doing our hamstring sweeps, popping one foot forward, raising our toes up towards the ceiling, reaching the hands back behind the hips and sweeping down through the heel, standing up straight tall. Trying to get those fingertips as low as we can. Sweeping across the floor. Getting deep into the hamstrings. Switch sides. Keeping that knee straight and standing up nice and tall. Sweeping all the way through, reaching back behind those hips. And coming up all the way to standing, getting those hands straight up. And relaxing. All right, this next one, we're going to do our kneeling Cossack squats. We're going to get down onto one knee. As we bring that foot forward, we're going to open up the hip and bring it out. So it's pointed directly to 90 degrees, keeping our shoulders and our hips square with the camera. We're going to lunge out to the side and back in, stretching out the inside of that hip here. Driving those hips forward, keeping them square. And back up. Rocking back and forth. Coming back up. Two more on this side. Really trying to drop those hips down to the heel and switching sides. Getting that foot out wide, pointed straight 90 out, keeping those hips and shoulders square, lunging out to the side, dropping the hip to heel, and coming back up. Trying to keep that knee tracking over the second toe of the foot, not letting it scooch inside as we come out. Really trying to keep things nice and open here. A few more. And relaxing out. Good. Next up, we're going to go into our lunge and twist. So keeping the knee down, we're going to drive that knee out over the toe. Bring our opposite elbow over that front knee. And twist the shoulders around, holding a nice lunge and twist, and we can come back and forth, rocking in and out of that lunge. And switching sides. Getting our other knee down, bringing that front foot forward, driving the knee out past the toe, and twisting across. Moving nice and even back and forth. Twisting as we bring that knee forward. A few more. Really trying to open up that front hip. And relax out. Next up, we got our cat-cow. So getting our hands and knees down. We're going to get the hands directly below the shoulders, just slightly wider than the chest. Same with the knees and our hips. And from here, we're going to drop the belly button down, arch out the back, bring our chin up, and rolling back, pulling that spine, tucking the hips underneath the torso, pressing the ground away through the shoulders. Rolling back and forth between both of those at a nice even pace. Moving evenly between both, just getting the spine nice and warmed up. Nice dynamic movements. From here, we're going to move along into our arm circles. So arms out to the side, pressing forward, nice, small, quick circles. Getting bigger and bigger and bigger, keeping those shoulders pulled back. And smaller and smaller and smaller. And then switching direction, gently getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So we're all the way big, keeping those shoulders pressed back. And smaller, 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 and smaller. Good. All right, now we're going to start our intro to the workout, which is going to begin with our glute bridges. So laying on our back, we're going to get our feet flat on the floor. Pulling that lower back down to the ground. Belly button tucked to spine. We're going to drive the hips up to the ceiling. Getting a nice flat line from our shoulders, extending through the hips, pushing straight through the knee, keeping those hips up and lowering very slowly down, feeling that top on the ground and pressing straight back up. Nice even pace here, really controlling the hips, lowering up and down. Driving the hips up to the ceiling. Nice even pace. Holding up at the top. Really squeezing together as we drive that hips up. And relaxing back down. Good. Next up, we're going into our air squats. So working on that same hip hinge movement we were just doing, we're going to now drive the hips back behind us. Feet about hip width apart, driving the hips back, lowering down, and coming straight back up. Got our hips nice and loose thanks to that warm up. Glutes nice and activated. We're keeping our weight over the middle of the foot and driving those hips back behind us and standing back up tall. Couple more here. Sucking that belly button to the spine, keeping the torso engaged as we lower down and spring back up. A few more. And done. Good. Next up, we've got our lateral marches. So So getting some space, we're going to step off to one side, bringing that knee straight up. We're going to step to the side, trying to stay in a straight line. Coming out to the side, I'm doing about 5 steps, and then switching back. Getting that knee up high, tapping through, picking up the pace. Once I find that rhythm, picking the rhythm up as we move from side to side. Really getting that knee up high. A couple more here. Ooh, lost my rhythm. Few more seconds. And good. All right, next up, we've got our kneeled squat. So starting down with our knees on the mat, we're going to bring one foot up. Next foot follows into a squat and back down. Trying to remember which leg came first, so we can switch the leg on the next squat. Nice, even pace, keeping those hips low as we come up. Keeping the weight over the middle of our foot. As we got a few more here. Really engaging those glutes and hamstrings as we keep that weight back, raising up into that squat. And finish. Good. Next up, we've got our mountain climbers. So hands directly below the shoulders, slightly wider than the chest. We're bringing our feet back to start and driving the knees up to the chest, keeping those hips nice and level with the shoulders, sucking the belly button up to spine, getting quick drive up to the chest and kicking back out. Keep it up, keep driving, almost there. You're through the worst of it. Keep going. Couple more seconds. And rest. Good. Next up, we've got our eccentric push-ups. So, getting your feet back extended or down on your knees with your toes up. We're going to lower our chest down, folding the elbows to the ribs, nice and slow. Holding at the bottom, and then pressing straight up. Again, real nice and slow count down. Hold at the bottom, and press back up. So we get a 1, 2, 3, 4. Down, holding, and press. Really testing that stability, strength, and control here. Making sure that both sides of the shoulders are working equal. Keeping those shoulders pulled back, squeezing that egg, crushing that egg as we lower down. And one more. Good. Next up, we have our snow angels. So we're going to lower down onto our chest. Bring our hands out in front of the body. We're going to pick the hands up, rotating the hands out and around, flipping the palms upward as we come behind the back, rotating back out, palms flip back over, and hands out in front. Keeping your shoulders and hands and chest up off the ground the entire time. Trying to get those broad strokes out wide. Nice, controlled, even pace. Just gently swimming through space here. Trying to focus on that breath, keeping those shoulders pulled low and away from the ears. A few more. And down. Very good. Next up, last one of the circuit. We're flipping over for our leg raises. We're going to do single leg at a time here, okay? So we're going to start on our backs with both feet extended out, hips or heels raised off the floor, sorry. You can get your hands underneath your hips, get a little bit more leverage there, pulling the lower back in to the ground, sucking belly button to spine. We're going to bring those heels up and one leg at a time, come up and slowly lower down. Holding up at the top for just a second. As soon as that other foot comes down, bring that other foot up and slowly lower down. Nice, even, controlled pace. Keep going, try and keep it up. A few more seconds. Couple more, almost there. And done. Nice job. All right, 50% of the way there. We're gonna get back to our glute bridges. So, staying down on the ground with your back flat. We're gonna get our feet flat on the floor. Heels tucked into the hips. Driving the hips straight up into the ceiling. Getting that nice flat line from shoulder through the hips, through the knee. Creating a nice diagonal with the floor. Holding those hips up and slowly lowering down after about 10 seconds, tapping the ground and coming back up. Sucking that belly button to spine. Getting those lower abs active to help pull those hips up. Lowering down, getting a quick tap. And popping straight back up. Really trying to activate all those lower back muscles, lower hip muscles. Lowering back down. Very good. Popping up onto our feet. We've got our air squats. So, starting with our feet about hip width apart. We're going to drive those hips back, lowering down into the heels. And coming back up, trying to keep that chest nice and tall. Keeping that weight over the midpoint of the foot. Moving nice and even, back, forth, up and down. Finding a good pace. Driving up through the heels. Couple more. And done. Good. Getting some space. Moving into our lateral marches. We're going to find our spot and start driving the knee up, stepping out to the side. Moving back and forth. Side to side, picking up that rhythm, getting those knees up high. A little bit of a quicker pace for the last couple of seconds. And done. Good. Next up, we've got our kneel to squat, popping down to the knees. We're going 1 foot at a time, up into a squat, switching feet every time we come back up. Nice, even, keeping the weight over the midpoint of the foot. Hips staying low. Keeping that weight into the back of the hips. Couple more. Moving nice and quick, finding a good pace. Not stopping during this time. And done. Very good. Next up, we've got our mountain climbers. So hands down to the mat, getting our hands directly below the shoulder, about hip width apart. We're going to extend the feet back and drive the knees up to the chest. Driving up nice and quick. Hot feet like you got a fire on your heels. Driving those feet up nice and quick. Driving the ground away through the hands. Trying to keep those hips nice and level with the shoulders. Couple more seconds. Keep it up. And rest. Good. Next up, we've got our eccentric push-ups. So keeping our hands directly below the shoulder, about chest width apart. We're getting our knees back, feet up, or feet back, knees up. Lowering the chest down at a 4 count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding at the bottom and driving away. Keeping those elbows tucked into the ribs, pointed back towards the hips. Pressing straight through like you got 2 springs. Bringing that chest back up. Trying to keep the weight of your chest and upper body over the middle of the palm of the hand. We got a couple more. Squeezing that egg through the back as we lower down. Couple more. Last one. Make it count. Very good. All right. We're extending out onto our stomach with our hands directly out in front of us. We're going to pick the hands and chest up, sweeping out. Big, broad breaststrokes, keeping our shoulders pulled away from the ears for our snow angels here. Big snow angel strokes, keeping the chest and hands up. Eyes forward or straight down at the mat, trying to keep those shoulders pulled low through the torso. Few more. And done. Good. Next up, we have our leg raises. These ones are going to be 2 legs at the same time. So both coming up and lowering back down. Hands underneath the hips, getting leverage there. And lowering the back, pulling it into the ground, extending the feet out, hips up off the ground, and heels up off the ground. Sweeping the feet up, nice and controlled, lowering down, feeling that tap at the bottom, and sweeping back up. Nice. Controlled, even pace. Focusing on sucking that belly button to spine, keeping that back pulled into the ground. Getting those feet straight up into the air. Nice and controlled lowering. Few more. And rest. Nice job. Finishing that workout. That was a tough one. Got me sweating. For sure got me sweating. I hope it did for you guys too. All right. We're going to enter our cool down here with just a few minutes left. We're going to do our hurdler stretch. We did a lot of hip and kind of quad dominant movements today. So this is going to be a really, really good one to get done today. We're just going to lower back into our elbow supported position, trying to get our foot pretty close to the hip. You really want to try and close that gap there so you get a lot bigger of a pull through the quads and the hip here. I don't have much space between my hip and my foot on the outside. And if you can, lowering back all the way down to the floor. I'm not going to go for that one today. And rolling out to the side, switching the legs, getting that foot tucked to the hip, and stretching out in the front here. Taking deep breaths, nice and even. And rolling out, extending to the side. All right, next up, we're going to go into sort of the opposite stretch. So we're going to tuck one heel onto the inside of the hip and reach out forward towards the ankle. Now with this one, you can get a little added stretch by using your opposite hand to reach for that. You get a little bit of a stretch into the lower back, as well as an interesting stretch into the hamstring. Or you can stick to the two hands, or if you're really tight in the hamstrings, keep that one folded forward there. We've got that same arm folded forward. You can bring that other hand up and over your head. It'll help open up that lower back I was talking about. And go ahead and switch sides. Reaching out towards that foot and bringing that hand up and over. And relaxing out. All right. Thank you so much for hopping in today. I hope you enjoyed the workout. I know it got me going. Certainly got my heart rate up. So have a great week. Don't forget, you can always check out our other SharePoint classes on our schedule or on YouTube, where we post all of them afterwards. Have a great time. Thanks for hopping in.
Thanks, Quinn. See ya. Bye.